I'm ready.
All right. So branch one here at Södertälje, Sweden, with my guest, Julien Brüske from Germany, all the way from Bavaria. So how are you?
Well, Branch, actually, I'm pretty damn fucked. Can I say that?
Yes, you can say that.
Okay, perfect. Because I'm 2 days out from the Gasp Classic and I don't have any carbs in the system so far. But apart from that, I'm feeling pretty damn good. I'm absolutely hyped for the competition and for the whole weekend, and we're good to go.
I love competing, but I don't miss feeling how
Yeah,
you feel right now. So I remember that. I did that for many years. I don't know how you feel. So tough it out. It's almost over.
yeah,
Big contest tomorrow. And so for those of you who don't know, Julien was a top-level natural bodybuilder, world-class bodybuilder in the natural division. Now he's switching over to the IFBB, going for his IFBB Pro card this weekend, because we have a regional qualifier tomorrow and then a pro qualifier on Sunday here in Södertälje. What inspired you or motivated you to make the switch?
Yeah, well, Branch, it was actually like I competed for 3 seasons in the natural division, which means 2019, 2022, and 2024. And in each season, I became better and I got more advanced and I got even more wins and trophies and so on and so on. And then in 2024, I would say, without, don't wanting to cheer up myself too much, but it was actually the most prestigious natural bodybuilding competitions, you could say, in the world, apart from the WMBF Worlds maybe. But I received the Evo Classic Championship title, the overall win, which is a competition with an audience of 3,000 people and very, very high athletes quality. Then also the ANBF, which is personally my favorite competition here in the area, because it's kind of familiar, but also very, very professional. And then also the DFAC World Championship title at the pros, not the amateurs. And what else? One more thing, the WMBF Germany. Yeah, that's right. Which I also got the overall. And so actually in every natural competition that I took place in, I got the overall. And then I said, okay, how should I continue? And my friends and family, all of them said, Chu, come on, it's getting time. It's getting time to take the next step. And I was always like, but I'm so dedicated to the natural sports and so on and so on. But then I said, okay, come on. I think there is nothing more to take. And I want the new challenge. I just want to see how everything reacts when I, go just to the next step. And that's basically what it is all about. Yeah.
So you just wanted to see how far you can push yourself, and it's all about setting new standards, raising the bar impossibly high, and seeing if you can achieve it, right?
Yeah, basically.
So what does enhanced bodybuilding mean to you?
Well, actually, I can't say that much about it yet because I'm here in this journey for around about half a year. Only two months of bulk and almost 4 months of dieting, and I can definitely say it is not that much easier, especially not in the dieting phase, in my opinion. I don't know. When I was in the bulk, I realized, okay, damn, I'm getting really strong and kind of swole and bigger and felt good. But now in the diet, especially at the end of the diet, it was actually the same pain as always, and I also felt skinny and thin and decent there. But yeah, it was also an experience, yeah. But I also have to say, to be honest, that I'm not I'm not loading a full stack or something like that. I'm just basically on a TRT plus, you could say.
I think that's very smart. I think, if you go back and look at all the top great athletes in the pro division, we were all natural athletes at one point, myself included. Ronnie turned pro, he was natural. I was just talking to my training partner, Johnny Jackson. He was up and coming. We all started that way. And I think it's a natural progression for a lot of us, because you want to go to the pro level. You want to make a living at it. You want to, compete in Mr. Olympia. So, we made the switch over. And just as you said, nothing really changed. It doesn't make it easier. If anything, it gets harder because you can actually push yourself harder and more frequently because you recover faster. And so you're actually doing more, you're working harder, you can diet harder without losing muscle. And so you probably suffer more actually.
Yeah. But then, as
So,
you say, then you're basically on the same level once again concerning energy levels and so on.
mhm,
So it's
yeah,
you can push harder, that's true, but then you're still completely fucked after the workout.
you beat the shit out of yourself even harder.
Yeah,
And you're, I think more sore and more exhausted because
yeah,
you push harder.
yeah,
And so it never gets easier. So
true.
what were you like? Where did you come from? And what was, describe yourself as a 15-year-old, what was 15-year-old Julien like?
Yeah, with 15 years old, I was actually already lifting. I started with 14 and a half years, and well, I was always inspired by people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone. Just, I always said, okay, in my opinion, a man has to look like this. A man needs to be jacked, a man needs to look powerful, and that was more or less some kind of the reason why I started with all that stuff, but also because of the flexibility of the sport, because you're not depending on anybody else when you miss something or when you're doing something wrong, it was your own
It's
fault.
not a team sport.
It's
Yeah.
not a team sport. Yeah, I'm definitely also a team player. I can communicate with people, I can interact with people and so on. But concerning sports where I'm so dedicated and so, yeah, just want to get the best out of everything, I personally better rely on my own, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
And so I decided to go for the lifting sports. And yeah, my goal was never to be the strongest motherfucker on earth. I always wanted to just be as jacked as possible, as naturally possible back then. And so I started lifting in my high school. Um, where I also did my A levels and so on. And then after 1 year of lifting there, I got my first gym membership, and then everything went on and went on. And I was always actually pretty into science-based training as
Mhm.
well. Not at the beginning. At the beginning, it was just pushing my ass off and yeah, getting the best out of what I can. But then I got some background that training the muscle maybe twice a week and so on might be beneficial. And there I also did another jump. I brought the physique to the next level, and then it was just, yeah, continue
So
and
do you
so on.
have a coach or anybody to help you, or you just kind of self-taught?
No, I was actually always coached by my own, I could say.
Mhm.
But now I'm with Stefan Kienzel,
Yeah.
but just concerning mostly the PED topic
Mhm.
and yeah, getting ready for the show. Also managing me through the peak week phases and so on. But apart from that, when I was natural, basically always did everything on my own, you could say.
Well, we have a lot in common because one of the reasons that attracted me to bodybuilding was it was individual sport.
Mm,
And I played American football, played a lot of sports when I was, in high school and coming
mm,
up. And I used to get so frustrated because I wanted to win so bad. And if you have one person on the team that's not giving 100%, you lose.
yeah.
And I would get so frustrated. So bodybuilding, it's on you, right? It's how hard you train, how strict you're on your diet, your posing, all this stuff. It's all on you. And that attracted me to the sport. And I didn't have a coach either. I was self-taught. And, I was fortunate, my first competition, I trained with Ronnie Coleman in Metroflex, but I trained with him and I learned how to train properly with those guys. But as far as nutrition and all that, I taught myself.
Mm,
And so I think sometimes it's better when you do that because it forces you to learn about your body, nutrition, and I think it makes you a better bodybuilder and competitor if you're forced to do
yes,
it yourself.
can agree with it.
So, so tell me about the culture in Germany, the bodybuilding culture. What's it like? Is it very supportive, or is it still kind of
It's coming actually, and especially the natural sports are even more rising, I think, which I really appreciate, and it's absolutely great that all the younger athletes are also getting more involved into the sport. Um, but the sport is definitely getting more accepted by the community, which was not the case a few years ago. A
mhm,
few years ago, it was always like, ah, look at them, those stupid bodybuilders,
yeah,
and so on. But now, yeah, the people seem to be hopping
more
on the
accepting?
train and getting attracted by it.
When I first came to Europe back in 2001, um, everything was still, to be successful in bodybuilding, you almost had to live in America if you want to make money. There was a few, like Dorian kind of broke the mold because he was the first non-US based bodybuilder to win the Mr. Olympia. But, still most of the athletes, no matter where they were from, went to the States, to have a career at it. Now, over those past 25 years, it's really changed. I think you see a lot of athletes in the Middle East, Europe, other, Brazil, where they can be very successful and stay in their home countries and not have to go to the States. And so I was just curious. I think Germany too has been more accepting of it. There's a lot more opportunities for the athletes, where the sport has grown exponentially, and I think more opportunities for young athletes.
Yeah, there are definitely coming more opportunities right now. More competitions, greater competitions, better organized, and so on and so on. But I think there is still room to improve. Yes.
So switching gears to training. So, I always kept it simple. Somebody asked me one time, what's your philosophy? I said, I lift the maximum amount of weight I can lift for as many repetitions as I can lift. I rest and repeat, repeat, repeat. So I kept it simple. I'd be super high intensity, brutal aggression, and just train till I couldn't lift it no more. So what's your philosophy towards?
I can definitely agree with it, but as I'm an athlete that is kind of, how should I say it, kind of struggling here and there with injuries as well, especially in the shoulder joints, elbows, and so on. I need to also train very smart in some way. And that's why I also go for some kind of science-based training in a certain way. But I also like to lift the shit out of my body, you could say. So heavy as squats, because I don't have any pain struggles there, getting as strong as possible. Same with the RDL. But for example, bench press isn't working for me. I don't push myself there. I rather go for dumbbells or for machines or whatever, where I can contract my chest better, bring it better to growth, and so on. And yeah, that's basically it. But I can go with you. I also want, when I'm in the gym, I want to go hard. But yeah, as I said, with some exercises, I also sometimes do work with reps in reserve, for example, in order to get my fatigue management a little bit better on point, because my shoulders in some kind might be my weak point, also chest. And then I say, okay, when I push a little bit less on my strengths, like for example, the legs or the back, then I have more recovery capacities left for the weaker body parts, where I can push even harder, if you know what I mean. So that's kind of my philosophy, but I think it's pretty much the same to yours, apart from the fact that I always have to manage my
Walk around the injuries.
my injury
Yeah,
stuff.
that's smart. So, I've said it before myself. Some people, I was a bodybuilder because I love to train. Some people train because they're bodybuilders. It's a difference. How would you describe yourself?
I'm definitely go with the first one. So when I started lifting, I started it because I loved the pump, I loved the feeling, I loved going to the gym, exhausting myself, and so on. But then also the love to bodybuilding got even bigger, and then I said, okay, maybe I should hop on the stage as well one time. And also my friends were pushing me to it and said, hey, come on, Chu, you have good genetics, try it out. Maybe you have potential, and that was basically the starting point. Yes.
So how do you prepare yourself mentally before a workout?
My supplement rotation.
How do you prepare yourself mentally before a workout? When you're going to the gym, you're getting ready to work out, do you prepare yourself mentally? Do you start thinking about what you're going to do, or
Okay,
get psyched up?
this is what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually a lot with music. Music is some kind of getting me into the mode, if you know what I mean. It's some different kind of music, or sometimes, or mostly, some electronic stuff, techno and so on, but also sometimes Rammstein and
Oh, yeah.
other rock stuff, or here and there also hip hop or something like that. But music is basically the way to go, and also my routine. The routine is absolutely important for me, especially when I'm on diet. I always need to get my standardized pre-workout meal in, getting my pre-workout shake and so on. When I was younger, it was a Monster, for example, but that's how it is going, and then I know, okay, now it's time to perform.
I was the same way. I used to put my music on the way to the gym. It took me about 20, 25 minutes to get to the gym. I put my music on. I had my pre-workout meal.
Yeah.
I drink my shake.
Yeah.
And by the time I walked into the gym, I was ready to go to work. I'd walk in. I wouldn't even say hi, hello to no one. I walked straight in and started warming up, train.
Same.
I trained with Johnny Jackson for 20 plus years, and we wouldn't even say hello to each other.
Okay.
And it was cool. We just walked in and we trained. We'd go through the whole workout, sometimes never speak to each other,
Crazy.
leave, and it was cool.
And then when the workout is done, we can meet in the evening and have something
And hang out,
together, something
for sure.
Great.
So people don't. If you haven't trained like that, and you're not that. People that are focused and have a goal, and they're super laser focused on it, will understand that. Most people have never been that focused on something; they wouldn't understand it, and they get their feelings hurt because you didn't, speak to them or weren't polite to them. So, how far do you think you can go with bodybuilding?
That's a question that I can't answer. There are so many genetic freaks out there, and I will just do the best that I can in order to be part of that, and in order to push myself to the absolute limit. But as you know, Urs Kalejinsky, he also won the ANBF in, I think, 2018. I got the overall win in 2022 at the amateurs and also at the pros in 2024. And then I said, if Urs could do it, maybe I can do it as well. And that's, of course, it's not in stone, engraved in stone, is it called like that in the US? I don't know. But just give it a try. Just try it out.
You don't know unless you try.
Yeah, I don't want to sit there with 35 years thinking about what have been if.
Yeah, 100%.
That
I thought the same way. I was very fortunate to walk into the gym I did when I was a young man, and I saw the success Ronnie had, and I was training with him, and I saw he started progressing and moving up the ranks, and I said the same thing. I said, well, he did it. Why can't I? And I didn't know the odds against me, but when you're young, you're naive, and I think that's a blessing. And I just went and did it. I worked my ass off, and like you said, it's not set in stone. But if you don't, but if you don't try, you'll never know. And I didn't want to be an old man and look back and say, man, what if I would have tried? So I commend you for that. So keep going, don't quit. You're gonna have a lot of people tell you that you don't have what it takes, maybe, but don't ever listen to them. As long as you believe it in here.
Thanks for your words, man.
You can do anything you want to do, brother.
Yeah.
So gotta ask you this. This leads into the next question. What were your biggest obstacles that you faced?
Biggest obstacles? Wow. I can't really tell. It's just here and there getting everything organized, you could say. Getting everything under one hat, which means getting in your money, preparing your meals, all the stuff that comes along with it. Or how is it called? Sorry, my brain is just so depleted because of no carbs, but how is it called? Not losing the focus also on family and friends. That's also a tough point, especially when you're on prep, because you're so in the tunnel here and there.
Yep.
That's really, really a tough thing.
It makes you self-centered and selfish. Even if you're not that way naturally, the sport forces you to be like that.
Yeah, true.
So.
I'm actually a very I'm a family guy, and in some way, if you know what I mean, and also so much in love with my animals, with my cats and so on. But when I'm so much in the tunnel, everything is just about the routine, about performing as good as possible. And that's here and there not easy. Not only for me, of course, also for my environment, but I also try to get that, combined as good as possible.
What do you think is the most important thing in bodybuilding? Do you think it's intensity or discipline?
Both is absolutely needed. You can't tell because when you have one guy that does one workout in his life which is extremely intense, he will not bring it to anything. But discipline, only when you're not able to push in some kind of way, yeah, to a certain degree hard. If of course it's always individual, but then you also won't come to anything.
See, I think I always said it was discipline, because without discipline, you don't have anything. You don't have intensity, anything. And the best definition I ever heard of discipline was Mike Tyson. He did an interview and he said, discipline is doing what you hate to do, but doing it like you love it. And I think that sums up discipline.
Is a good point, definitely. But also here you have to say, for example, yeah, intensity you can compensate to a certain degree also with volume, for example. But discipline, you can't compensate when it's getting hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point, definitely.
100%. Tell me about, how do you balance, number one, what do you define as balance in life, and how do you balance your life? I think that leads into what you're saying, because bodybuilding will make you very self-centered and selfish, as we were just discussing. So how do you find balance?
Not competing too much. Not competing too much, actually, because that was also the point which made this prep so extremely hard for me, because I was standing last year on stage, naturally, hormone levels got fucked, and I wasn't recovered until I started my next prep, and that's the problem. That's the biggest problem. You really have to listen to your body when it tells you, hey, get some more rest in, use it, and come back stronger. And in between, focus on different points in life. For example, on business, on family and friends, stuff like that. And then really try to grab out as much energy out of the floor, you could say, or out of the environment as possible to get into the next journey or into the next prep with really full storages.
Do you think you can find balance in life and business and also be the best bodybuilder on the planet? Do you think that's possible to do at the same time?
There are many people that have already shown that it's possible. If it's possible for me, we will see. We will see.
Well, I wish you the best. I know you're low carb here. I know you're going to go check in, get weighed in, so you can start carbing up and filling up. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best this weekend.
Thank you very much, Branch.
Yes, sir.
Was a nice talk.
Nice talk. I look forward to seeing you, and wish you much success in the future. I know this is just the beginning, and we're going to see you on that IFBB Pro stage very soon.
Yeah. So, thank you. Thank you very much.
For Gasp and Better Buddies, Branch Warren, Julien Brüske. Peace.
Peace out.